Typically, when I receive a request, I do a lot of research around its production to give myself the best context for a review. For example, for my recent My Little Pony Friendship is Magic video, I watched both seasons, read up on the making of the series and the behind-the-scenes details of specific episodes, and lurked in several forums to get a general fan consensus on things. However, this is different. This time, I've been specifically asked to go into this blind, without knowing anything about this show besides what could be gleaned from the specific episodes requested. The show in question is Code Lyoko, a French-produced animated show that aired for 4 seasons between 2003 and 2007, and it has fans. That is literally all I know about it. I don't think I've heard of it before I received this request. I certainly didn't catch any of it on TV. As of the time of this video production, these 2 episodes are the only ones I've seen. Is that fair to the rest of the show? Probably not, but we'll consider this an experiment in hooking new viewers. How effective is this show at making itself accessible to anyone who might be casually channel surfing it and stumbling upon it on Cartoon Network? And the episodes in question would seem to be perfectly apt for this, because today we're looking at a 2-parter called XANA Awakens, which is chronologically the first in the series. Not the first aired, mind you. This aired between seasons 2 and 3, so not technically a pilot, more of a prequel. It's kind of an odd setup, actually. Imagine if Mighty Morphin Power Rangers didn't start with Day of the Dumpster, the episode that introduces all the characters and the conflict and all the powers and gadgets and stuff, and went straight into the second episode. I mean, I'd imagine you'd still catch the drift of the show pretty quickly, but you'd still be missing that origin story. Then, 2 seasons later, when more than half the cast has changed, the villains have changed, the details of the powers have changed, then you air Day of the Dumpster. That's kind of what this is. Part 1 starts with a kid named Jeremy, an 8th grade student at a boarding school, writing a journal entry of all the things we're about to see. Jeremy is a bit of a tech geek and has been building small robots in his dorm room, but doesn't have the right parts. Naturally, a quick web search would direct him to hobbyist websites where he might...
So I decided to rummage for scrap in the abandoned factory, not far from the academy.
Or he could try poking around condemned buildings. What is it with kids' media and characters falling into the plot at dangerous abandoned places like construction sites and old factories? Well, sure enough, Jeremy stumbles upon a secret room with a very powerful-looking computer. He plays around with it for a while before a window opens to reveal some kind of pink elf girl standing in front of Matrix code. We meet some of our other characters. We've got Ulrich, the normalish guy in the group, I guess, and Odd, Ulrich's new roommate, and I'm guessing some kind of mutant considering the purple spot on his hair that doesn't go away. Oh, and then there's Sissy, daughter of the school principal, who has a major crush on Ulrich, which is not mutual. Okay, this animation is just not doing it for me at all. I hate these character models with their weird oblong eyes, their perfect geometric eyebrows, the sharp angles on their ears, and their giant heads that take up a third of their body mass. Seriously, look at those things. You'd be forgiven in thinking that everyone in this show was from the planet Metaluna. So Odd, yes, that's his name, he's kind of an annoying shit.
And the waiter says, I don't have frog's legs, that's just the way I walk.
Really? This is going to be one of our heroes? This is like if Screech from Saved by the Bell joined the Avengers. Anyway, Jeremy's been fussing around with this secret supercomputer. He assumes that the elf girl is some kind of artificial intelligence, but she doesn't have any recollection of who she is, so Jeremy gives her the name Maya. Jeremy has deduced off camera that Maya exists in some kind of virtual world called Lyoko, which we finally get our first look at, and it's Tron. Wow, they were pretty shameless with that design, weren't they? Maya manages to get out of her holding cell, house, giant, tarry cigarette. I don't know, but she ends up in a digital forest, and wow, could it be any less interesting? As you've probably noticed, all the scenes inside the virtual world are computer generated. I don't know what the makers of the show were going for, but when you have worse texture mapping and character movement than Reboot had 10 years prior, you might want to reevaluate your strengths. It doesn't take long before Maya finds herself attacked by some kind of bug robot things, and she's forced to retreat and heal up inside the giant cigarette. Jeremy goes back to the campus and tries to use one of the vending machines, but it proceeds to shock him silly right in front of Ulrich and Odd. Jeremy seems alright, but nobody seems all that concerned about reporting the clearly dangerous machine. Instead, Ulrich goes to a martial arts class.
Calorie payat, kogusoku, jutsu. No, these are not dishes served at the Golden Dragon Chinese restaurant. No offense, Miss Ishiyama.
None taken, sir. I'm Japanese.
So your racism is A-okay by me. This is our final main character, Yumi. She's, a person. And honestly, if they hadn't have said it in the dialogue, I never would have guessed she was Japanese or any other non-white ethnicity, because her character model is exactly the same type as everyone else's. Yumi and Ulrich spar for a bit, and hey, that's not fair. Yumi's fighting with her shoes on. Cheater, 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 cheater. Well, Yumi ultimately wins, but Ulrich disses her by not bowing afterwards. Ulrich returns to his dorm to find Odd has trashed it. Odd's brought a dog named Kiwi onto the premises, and oh god, it's like if a maggot and Sharky from Eek the Cat had a baby. Well, Jeremy is continuing to have the most awful day when his little robots start to come to life and attack him. Ulrich happened to be in the neighborhood and saves the day again, and realizing that this is somehow connected with Maya and Lyoko, Jeremy decides to confide in Ulrich about his discovery. And suddenly, Sissy in her underwear. I'm not sure if this is considered fan service, since every living thing in the show is butt ugly. Sissy's under some delusion that she has a date with Ulrich, even though he never agreed to such a thing. Back to the plot, Jeremy shows Ulrich a series of tubes that he figures can digitize living things and put them in Lyoko, and vice versa. Of course, they've seen The Fly, so they're wary about using these things, so they need a test subject to make sure it works. Let's see... Oh, Kiwi, of course! Nothing like a little animal endangerment to make us like our heroes. Wait a minute, the dog from The Fly! That's what Kiwi looks like. You know, after Jeff Goldblum teleported it, of course. So Ulrich dognaps Kiwi, with both Odd and a pissed-off Sissy pursuing him all the way to the factory. And when Odd tries to rescue the dog, he accidentally gets scanned and sent to Lyoko.
Huh? And why am I dressed up like a giant purple cat?
Yeah, this show is just trying to fuck with me at this point. On one hand, I'm pretty sure that somewhere in this show's 4 seasons, we get a proper and logical explanation as to why Odd's virtual avatar is a purple cat costume with a logo of a dog taking a piss. But on the other hand, this is so goddamn ridiculous that I just don't give a fuck. It doesn't take long before Odd starts getting attacked by the bug robot things, so Ulrich steps into the transporter and races to Lyoko to save the day. His outfit is a bit more dignified and comes with a means of defending himself. Less can be said in the real world, as some kind of force takes control of the wiring and starts attacking Jeremy and Sissy. Ulrich and Odd find the giant cigarette, but they miscalculate where the entrance is and end up tumbling into the bottomless pit, which dumps them in some kind of ice world. Well, these kind of environments are blander to look at than forests, so the CGI guys don't have to stress so much. The two of them get attacked by these blockheads and get their asses handed to them. Thankfully, they don't run on Matrix rules, and dying in Lyoko just means you get sent back to the real world. Just in time to save Jeremy, I think, or maybe whatever this is just goes away, I'm not sure. In any case, this ends XANA Awakens Part 1. Part 2 begins the next morning with our heroes having breakfast. Hey, a croissant, that's French. And a football Oreo? Jeremy has somehow connected his computer with Lyoko and is able to talk to Maya in his dorm room. But that's not all he's figured out off screen. He's also learned that when a giant cigarette is glowing red, that means it has a connection with the real world. And Jeremy thinks he can bring Maya here through that. So Jeremy recruits Ulrich, Odd, and Sissy for a Saving Private Ryan mission, getting Maya out and shutting the computer down for good. They all agree to meet at the factory after school. In the meantime, Ulrich goes to the gym to settle a score with Yumi. This time I get to wear shoes during combat. We will fight on an even playing field, and... Wait a minute, now you're wearing boots! Sissy goes to cheerleading practice, or tryouts, or something, but botches her routine.
Cheerleading is not about being a boomerang juggling baboon.
No offense. You are black, right? Sissy's pretty miffed about this, but things get worse when she returns to her dorm room and is attacked by a ball of electricity. It knocks her unconscious, but fails to do any serious harm. And really? Everyone's been getting shit tons of electrical shocks throughout these episodes, and none of them seem to be getting all that hurt. This evil force of energy appears to have all the power of static cling. So, what's Jeremy been doing during all of this?
A couple of days ago, I dug up a brand new program on the supercomputer called Return to the Past, and I just figured out how to activate it.
Really? Alright, I'm getting a little ahead of myself, but Jeremy effectively discovered a time travel program. First off, again, Jeremy seems to be discovering all the plot details off screen. Hey kids, have you ever wondered over the last 2 seasons how Jeremy got his hands on that time travel program? Well, too bad! Secondly, so you just casually found time travel in the supercomputer's junk drawer? They play this like it's not actually that big of a deal when it might be the most important thing in the world. Forget Lyoko, you discovered time travel. Thirdly, yeah, I totally don't see this thing being abused throughout the series. The electrical ball shows up in the gym and starts chasing around Ulrich and Yumi. Jeremy and Odd learn about Sissy, and everyone makes a dash for the factory.
Hey, listen!
Meanwhile, in Lyoko, Maya has gotten impatient and has started making a run for the giant red cigarette by herself. She gets chased around by the robo-bug denizens, and since there's no way to keep track of the geography and who's where, I have no real idea what's going on. She ends up on some ice platforms that the Lyoko monsters can't walk on.
You guys ready? I'm starting up the procedure.
Apparently the procedure is squiggly squiggly squiggle. Computer programming by way of 2-year-old. Ulrich, Odd, and a still not sure what's going on Yumi are sent to Lyoko. Can't walk across. Might just have to give up. Oh, no, wait, I can shoot laser beams! How did I forget that? Maya manages to get off the ice, and our heroes show up just in time to fight off the upcoming wave of blockheads. Yumi using some kind of deadly boomerang fan thing. Because naturally someone who we've established as being really great with martial arts would have a ranged weapon that doesn't implement her abilities at all. 2 new monsters show up, and these prove to be a lot tougher than anything from before.
So here's this giant enemy crab, and you attack its weak point for massive damage.
When one of the crabs pins Maya, she breaks out this song that creates a protective barrier. Kind of like the end of Stardust. You had the power in you the whole time. Well, all 3 of our heroes take critical hits and return to the real world, where Jeremy is superficially getting his ass handed to him by the ball of rubbing your socks on the carpet and touching the doorknob. Sissy, her father, and the coach also arrive to shut things down. Maya reaches the red cigarette and discovers her real name is Alita.
I came here to save you, Ulrich! And what's this Chinese girl doing here, huh?
I'm Japanese!
Jesus Christ, this show. Anyway, the ball of not doing a damn thing fades away, Maya fails to materialize, and Sissy's father demands that Jeremy shut the supercomputer down. Well, Jeremy doesn't want to just give up on his new computer elf girlfriend just like that, so let's break out the untested time travel technology. So Lyoko was Akira this entire time. Ulrich, Odd, and Yumi find themselves sent back a day. It seems they are the only ones who remember what happened. Not even Jeremy remembers, and they figure it's probably something to do with who has and hasn't gone to Lyoko. And I guess Alita remembers somehow? I don't know why.
Hi. Well, find anything?
Yes, XANA.
XANA? What's that?
A super dangerous program. Like a virus which can control electricity and that activates towers on Lyoko to gain access to your world.
Ah, good. Jeremy learned who the antagonist is off-screen in our fucking origin story. Screw this, I'm out. So, Code Lyoko, XANA Awakens. No, sir, I do not like it. Again, I've only watched these 2 episodes, and it could very well be that they are the worst in the series and everything else is better by leaps and bounds. But I'm not that enthusiastic about it. As a pilot, XANA Awakens fails to hook interest and shuffles a lot of the explanation of what's going on into the margins. None of the characters seem all that interesting, the action is poorly choreographed, and is not helped by the cheap-looking CGI animation or the god-awful designs in the hand-drawn stuff. As a prequel, I can't imagine it being all that satisfying to long-term viewers of the series. Any questions they might have had, like how these kids first discovered Lyoko, or the existence of XANA, or how they found the time travel program, are answered with expository dialogue that are describing events that happened off-screen. An origin story in which the characters simply tell the origin story to each other. That is a storytelling fail on colossal proportions. There's hardly a point to any of this. Certainly nothing worth making a 2-part special over. And I have to wonder why the creators of the show just didn't give us a proper first episode. So I can safely say that, in the experiment to see if this show can hook new viewers, Code Lyoko is a failure. I have no intent to watch any more of this series. Unless you pay me, of course.